Vairagyayuktaya Pashyanti Atmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruta Giritaya. Translation: that absolute truth is realized by seriously inquisitive students or sages well equipped with knowledge and detachment by performance of devotional service in terms of hearing the Vedanta Shruti. Purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The absolute truth is realized in full by the process of devotional service of the Lord Vasudeva, or the personality of Godhead, who is full-fledged absolute truth. Brahman is his transcendental bodily effulgence, and Paramatma is his partial representation. As such, Brahman or Paramatma realization of the absolute truth is partial realization of the absolute truth. There are four different types of living beings. They are: 1. The karmis, 2. The jnanis, 3. The yogis, and 4. The devotees. The karmis are materialistic, whereas the other 3 are transcendentalists. First class transcendentalists are the devotees, who have realized the Supreme Person. Second class transcendentalists are those who have partially realized the plenary portion of the Absolute Person. And the third class transcendentalists are those who have barely realized the spiritual focus of the Absolute Person. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures, the Supreme Person is realized by devotional service, which is backed by full knowledge and detachment from the material association. We have already discussed the point of that devotional service is followed by knowledge and detachment of material association. As Brahman and Paramatma realization is imperfect realization of the Absolute Truth, so the means of realizing Brahman and Paramatma, i.e. the path of jnana and yoga, are also imperfect means of realizing the Absolute Truth. Devotional service, which is based on the foreground of full knowledge combined with detachment of the material association, fixed up on the oral reception of the Vedanta Shruti, is the only perfect method of realizing the Absolute Truth by the seriously inquisitive students. Devotional service is not, therefore, meant for the less intelligent class of transcendentalists. There are 3 classes of devotees, namely first, second, and third class. The third class devotees, or the neophytes, who have no knowledge, neither detachment from the material association, but are simply attracted with the preliminary processes of worshipping the deity in the temple, are called material devotees. Material devotees are more attached to material benefits than transcendental profit. Therefore, one is to make definite progress from the position of material devotional service to the second class devotional position. In the second class position, the devotee can see 4 principles in the devotional line, namely the personality of Godhead, his devotees, the ignorant, and the envious. One is to raise himself at least to the stage of a second class devotee and thus become eligible to know the Absolute Truth. The third class devotee, therefore, has to receive the instructions of devotional service from authoritative sources of Bhagavat. Number 1 Bhagavat is the established personality of devotee, and the other Bhagavat is the message of Godhead. The third class devotee has, therefore, to go to the personality of devotee in order to learn the instructions of devotional service. Such personality of devotee is not a professional man who earns his livelihood by the business of Bhagavat. Such devotee must be a representative of Shukadeva Goswami, like Sudha Goswami, and must preach the cult of devotional service for all-around benefit of all people. A neophyte devotee has very little taste for hearing from the authorities. Such a neophyte devotee makes show of hearing from the professional man and dictates to the professional man to satisfy his senses. This sort of hearing and chanting has spoiled the whole thing, and one should be very much careful about the faulty process. The holy messages of Godhead, as they are inculcated in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, are undoubtedly transcendental subjects, but even though they are so, such transcendental matters are not to be received from the professional man who spoils the whole thing like the serpent spoils the milk simply by touch with the tongue. A sincere devotee must therefore be prepared to hear the Vedic literature like the Upanishad, Vedanta, and other literatures left by the previous authorities or Goswamis for the benefit of his progress. Without hearing such literatures, nobody can make actual progress. And without hearing and following the instructions, the show of devotional service, becomes an anachronism and therefore a sort of disturbance in the path of devotional service. Unless therefore devotional service is not established on the principles of Shruti Smriti Puranam Pancharatra authorities, the make show of devotional service should at once be rejected, and an unauthorized devotee should never be recognized as pure devotee. By assimilation of such messages from the Vedic literatures, one can see the all-pervading localized aspect of the personality of Godhead within its own self constantly. This is called samadhi. Om Agyante Nandasya Gyanajana Shalakayam Chakshunanminidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, has opened my darkened eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto His lotus feet. So, this is a very important purport. There are 4 classes of human beings. Not that there's something unique, there's someone unique, I'm unique, for me it doesn't apply, the rules they don't apply. I'm a very special personality. Yes, everyone is special on a spiritual platform, but living in a material world, everyone is governed by the laws of material energy, the laws of material nature. So the Vedas, they very nicely map, they give guidance, they give analysis of how that material energy works. So there are 4 types of human beings: the karmis, those who are interested in fruitive results, working hard, then enjoying the fruits, they're called karmis. Such mentality actually keeps you rotating in the material world. Those who are a little bit more intelligent, they want to get out of the hurdle. The jnanis, they question reality. What's the use of this? I'm working hard, then eating, then pooing. What's the use of this working? You work hard, you eat, and then you poo. Isn't there anything more in life? Unfortunately, majority of people, they are on the platform of animals. Animal-like karmis. Vikarmis. At least the karmis, they follow some regulated sense gratification based on the Vedas. So most of the people, they're not even karmis, they're vikarmis. But anyway, we classify them as karmis because the mentality is like that. Let me work hard and then get me results. So, a little bit more intelligent are the scientists or philosophers of the intellectuals, the jnanis. They question, atata brahma jigyasa, question about the ultimate purpose of existence. Those who are a little bit more serious, they're called yogis. The yogis, they apply some process. They try to do something, some meditation, something, not simply speculating on the mental platform, accepting and rejecting without any conclusion. It is mentioned that a Muni is not recognized as a Muni unless he brings some unique philosophy. So you see now devotees, they're coming out with so many different ideas how to preach Krishna consciousness. It's like this Hitler thing. Now we're going to preach that Prabhupada was very fond of Hitler. Right? So many foolish people, they're into this because they're into bodily conception of life. They're actually karmis. Karmi, he is very much interested how to get sense gratification for his body. But when he gets that sense gratification, he realizes that, oh, this is not actually very pleasing unless I have some family, right? So the circle of selfishness expands. Then we have family, but if we connect with the other families, then we can have more benefits. So this is the history of modern states, how the state developed. Many selfish people get together and they're selfish together. That's what it is. So, because there are so many selfish little units, little sects and nations and states and races and genders and whatever you want to call it, you just go on the internet Everyone belongs to some kind of a group. Like Prabhupada mentions in the Who's Crazy, right? Everyone belongs to some party. Is there anyone here who doesn't belong to any party? He's not designated in any way? Only Prabhupada and Krishna. Otherwise, everyone has some kind of a designation. And because you have the designation, then you must be envious of the other designations. You see? So now they want to mix it up. Prabhupada. See, Prabhupada has come here to deliver us from the bodily conception of life. So these rascals, they want to bring you back to bodily conception of life. These are the Jews. So many, right, complaints. The Jews. What is this Jew? The bodily designation. Why are you speaking like this? Like a nonsense karmi. A Jew. You're not a Jew. You're the spirit soul. You nonsense. Haven't you read the Bhagavad Gita? Dehinosminyata de. So many times Prabhupada explains, you cannot assimilate this simple knowledge. In the past you had the body of a Jew. No. In the past you had the body of a child. Right? And what is the body now? The child's body now. Prabhupada actually, he mentions, this bogus idea is the caste Goswami's caste Brahmin mentality. This is started with Shringi 5,000 years ago. Do you know Shringi? You remember who was Shringi? That little boy?
I never heard of that.
Yeah, that's the little boy who cursed Maharaj Parikshit. Are you studying the Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam you studying? You do not know this thing? Who was Shringi? You really reading? You told me you're reading the Bhagavatam. You also told me you don't know who's Shringi?
I'm in the beginning, it wasn't mentioned there.
So in the beginning, but you should have some preliminary information about what is Bhagavatam. What is this Bhagavatam? Why this Bhagavatam was spoken? That you should inquire. So when I say any questions, you ask many nonsense questions. This question you don't ask. Why this Bhagavatam was spoken? Why Shukadeva Goswami took the trouble to explain to Maharaj Parikshit for 7 days without any water, without any food? Because this little boy popped up. I'm coming from Brahmin family, that's why I'm a Brahmin. I have a body of a Brahmin, that makes me a Brahmin. You see? So you think, oh, I'm not a Jew, because I don't have a body of a Jew. But if you have the Jewish mentality, just like they complain, the Jews, right, they are only simply after money. So if you're like that, if you don't want to give money to Krishna, then you're also a Jew. If that is your complaint, the Jews are like that, then you're also a Jew. And if a Jewish person, if he takes up Krishna consciousness with all seriousness, then he's not a Jew anymore. And to call him a Jew, mark my words, this is in the Purana. Anyone who claims that a devotee belongs to any group, any sect, any nationality, any race, he is destined for Naraka. Naraka. Hellish mentality. To divide devotees. This is an American devotee. This is a Jewish devotee. This is a black devotee. Such a person is going to Naraka. Along with the Guru Aparadis. Right? What is a Guru Aparadi? Guru Aparadi is the person who thinks that the spiritual master is an ordinary man, just like we recite every morning, right? To disobey the orders of the spiritual master, or to consider him to be an ordinary man. This is an offense. This is an offense. It's like so many devotees. They say, Prabhupada, oh, you didn't know how to do things. This Ritvik system, what he has established. Nonsense. It's not traditional. They're all nonsense. Prabhupada doesn't know how to establish his movement. Prabhupada, the representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, this is a similar nonsense. This is a Jewish devotee, or these are the Jews, or these are the blacks, these are the hellish mentality. Go and check the Puranas. It's there. I'm not saying this. It's in the Purana. Prabhupada mentioned it many times. If you think the Guru is an ordinary man, If you think that the devotee belongs to any a particular group, nation, you're destined to go to hell. You're going to Naraka. You see? So why these things are introduced, Prabhupada explains here in this wonderful purports. We don't have to speculate. Prabhupada is self-sufficient. He's telling us. A neophyte devotee has very little taste for hearing from the authorities. You see? Just like I was telling Philip. Why are you there watching? When the Bhagavatam class is going on, you hear. Not that I'm hearing, but at the same time doing something else. You know, so he has to make the offering, that's a different thing. But if you have the opportunity to hear Bhagavatam, you sit down. Fix your minds. You know, why are we running here and there? Because the mind is controlling us. Prabhupada explains this traveling, modern trends of this fashion, and one is traveling here and there, all around the world, world tickets. Prabhupada is smashing it. This is nonsense. Mode of passion. Why you want to travel to some other country? You get your land, you get your cows, you take care, and you be satisfied. But you know, you go on Facebook, you see this, you see that, you go on the internet, you have the Skype and so on and so on. And then you develop these whimsical desires. That I have to travel all around the world to spread my glory, to tell everyone how, you know, about my body, how wonderful I am, you know. So it's not necessary. So when we hear, we should hear properly, with submission, with respect. When the Bhagavatam class is going on, no one should interrupt. Sometimes there's this tendency. You probably have encountered this before. When especially new people come, they tend to cut into the class of the speaker. So you should not allow this. If you give class, don't allow this. And if some other devotee is giving class, don't allow that. It's disrespectful. Not to the devotee. Of course, that is also disrespectful. But the devotee is not an ordinary devotee. Anyone who is giving class on the Bhagavatam is not an ordinary devotee. He represents the Acharya. He represents Srila Prabhupada. As long as he speaks what Prabhupada says, he represents. Even if he makes a mistake, you know. If he is sincerely trying to explain what he has heard from Prabhupada, he should respect it as the representative of Prabhupada. So you're going to be giving classes. You have to know how to explain the Bhagavatam, and you know how to establish an atmosphere where the Bhagavatam can be received by sincere persons. You cannot allow some nonsense to come in and interfere. Cutting in. Who are you to cut in to the Bhagavatam class? Are you God? Even Krishna doesn't do this kind of nonsense. Cutting in. This is the neophyte devotee. See? There's a tendency. A neophyte devotee, no taste for hearing. You can see everyone wants to talk. Everyone wants to be guru. Not just in ISKCON. Everyone wants to be a guru. Guru wannabe. I want to listen to me. I'm going to teach you now. They don't know the etiquette. They instruct, although they were not being inquired from. No one has asked them any inquire, and they instruct. Right? The spiritual master does not speak to anyone who does not have a genuine inquiry. For them, he remains silent. Prabhupada says this. He remains silent. Because he's a nonsense, that person. Right? So, here, Prabhupada explains. Such neophyte devotee makes show of hearing. You see? Makes a show. How do I make a show of hearing? How do I make a show of hearing? How does it going on? What is that show of hearing? From the professional man, and dictates to the professional man to satisfy his senses. You see? How do we know that someone is making a show of hearing? He does not ask questions pertaining to the conclusion of the class or of the book. As soon as a nonsense fool rascal number one speaks, everyone knows that he's a fool. Chanakya Pandit says. Until he remains silent, then he can cheat everyone. So anyone can come here, sit down, and look like he's very much interested. But when he asks questions, then we can know what is actually his focus when he was hearing. Right? So, he actually brought, this is very, I never actually noticed this before, this particular sentence, that the neophyte devotee dictates to the professional man to satisfy his senses. He dictates. Just imagine. He comes to here and then he dictates that, okay, now you have some following here, some people who are listening to you, so you kindly dictate what I have to say. You see? What I want to hear, you dictate, so everyone can also benefit. You become my servant. That is a neophyte devotee. This sort of hearing and chanting has spoiled the whole thing, and one should be very careful about the faulty process. This is the faulty process. And Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, Dainasminyatadi Shloka, that, Shloka purport you should study very carefully. Why Prabhupada is quoting it on and on and on? Because it's important. So in that Shloka, he says, in that purport, it's either 2.13 or 2.12, that the Mayavadis, they say that Krishna is only assumed personality for the time being. But Prabhupada, he smashes this argument. He says that Krishna is already established that only a fool laments for the body. The wise people do not lament for the body. So why would he again make Prabhupada uses that word, convention? Why would he make a conventional definition of the distinction? Why would he make this conventional distinction between the Supreme Lord himself and the other living entities? It says 2.12, not Uevam Jatunasam. No, the individuality is eternal. He remains the Supreme Lord, and Arjuna remains the devotee eternally. Eternally, it is like that. So when we approach the spiritual master, he represents the Supreme Lord. He is also Jiva like me, yes, that is true. The spiritual master is Jiva Tattva, not a Vishnu Tattva. He is like me, yes, he is also a devotee. Prabhupada says, the spiritual master, he should be treated as good as God, but he never thinks that he's God. He always thinks, I'm simply a devotee. I'm a devotee of God. I'm not God, I'm a devotee of God. That's what distinguishes Srila Prabhupada from all these bogus rascals, all the bogus gurus. Prabhupada says, I am simply a servant of my Guru Maharaj. I am simply a servant of Krishna, a devotee of Krishna. I am not Krishna. I am not a spiritual master. I am a servant of my spiritual master. Like that. That's how you know who's a guru. Guru never pushes through the GBC voting or through this or through that I am the guru. The guru never pushes this. No, you have to now accept me as a guru. He speaks the message, and if you want to hear, then you surrender, because you want to hear. Now that I distribute Prabhupada's books, and when people become interested, then I force them, no Prabhupada, you have to worship me. No, this is not a guru. This is a cheater. Taking advantage. Opportunist. So because he represents Krishna, then we should not challenge the spiritual master. We cannot criticize the spiritual master. Otherwise, the process becomes faulty. I receive the information from the Parampara, descending process of acquiring knowledge, not ascending. The living Guru philosophy is ascending. You know. Why ascending? Because, I'm dictating. He must be living. The Guru must be living. He must come in front of my eyes and dance for me. And, I'm going to tell him how to instruct me because he doesn't know my special personality. This is a rascal. This is not a disciple. This is a rascal. Anyone who accepted Guru by this faulty process, he's a rascal. He's not a disciple. He's not a devotee. He's a rascal. You see? So, we should be very careful that the process, we understand what is the process. The Guru must be bona fide, and the disciple must also be bona fide. He must understand, I have come here to hear how to do things, not to instruct. I have imperfect senses. My whole life is a mess. Why is it a mess? I don't know how to solve birth, death, old age, and disease. I can solve little software problem, right? I can help out. I can upload my picture on Facebook. But I cannot upload myself when death comes, right? I have to outload myself from this, body. Unload. I have to unload the body, from my soul. With my soul. My soul has to be I'm downloaded from my body. Kicked out. So much information here in this tiny little purport. There's another point I would like to discuss. Material devotees, in other words, same class, Kanishthadikari, Neophyte devotee, are more attached to material benefits than transcendental profits. Therefore, one is to make definite progress from the position of material devotional service to the second class devotional position. Okay? Prabhupada is saying he has to. It's in order. The order of disobeying of the order of the spiritual master. It's an offense. So it's an order. You have to become Madhyamadikari. This is the order. In the second class position, the devotee can see four principles in the devotional line, namely the personality of Godhead, his devotees, the ignorant, and the envious. One is to raise himself at least to the stage of a second class devotee and thus become eligible to know the absolute truth. Because every time I read this, I always remember my godbrother. He would always emphasize this part to me. He would always say, one is to raise himself at least, and he would repeat, at least to the stage of a second class devotee and thus become eligible to know the absolute truth. Always I remember his voice emphasizing this, at least. Why is it so important, this passage? Because devotees, they think it's very cheap. I can go back home back to Godhead. I have so many anarthas. Doesn't matter, some or other, sentimental garbage. It's garbage. Why? Because if you're sentimental, then you will not remain in Krishna consciousness. You will be swayed by some more passionate sentiments. You see, so at least you should come to the stage of a second class devotee. What is a second class devotee? He's a preacher. He knows the distinction between the personality of Godhead, his devotees, the ignorant, and the envious. So what does it mean? It means that the neophyte devotee, he cannot even distinguish between God and a devotee. He's so foolish. Just imagine. No wonder these people are accepting some rascal as God or some rascal as a guru. And what is the cause of this? Prabhupada explains. The neophyte devotee has very little taste for hearing from the authorities because they do not hear. They want to see. That's how they become misguided, these neophytes. That's why for the neophytes, an elaborate deity worship, very, very gigantic temples are required. That is for neophyte devotees to somehow capture their eyesight. But you cannot advance like this. Right? Prabhupada again says, devotional service which is based on the foreground of full knowledge combined with detachment of the material association fixed up on the oral reception of the Vedanta Shruti, oral means through the ear, is the only perfect method of realizing the absolute truth by the seriously inquisitive student. See, only you can make temples, you can make elaborate deity worship, you can go see a deity every day. It's not the process. This is not the process. If you want to reach perfection through deity worship, then you go to Dwapara Yuga. That's where you belong. You kick you out, you go to Dwapara Yuga. This is Kali Yuga. What is the Yuga Dharma for Kali Yuga? What is it?
Chanting of the holy name.
Yes, Sankirtan. Harinam, Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam kalo nastiva nastiva gati anyata. No other way, no other way, no other way. You see? So, how do you know how to chant the holy name? How do you know?
At this moment, I don't know. I have to.
Oh, how do you know? How does anyone know how to chant the holy name? Because they have heard the holy name. They have heard it first. If you don't hear, how you want to chant? So both go simultaneously. Shravanam, Kirtanam. You hear from the spiritual master, and then you chant. If you don't hear, you cannot preach. You know, that preaching will become again like all these nonsense gurus, misinterpreters. You have to hear. And it's not difficult to preach. Prabhupada says you're not the body. So you go out on the street, you tell them, hey, come here, you're not the body. That's it, you're guru. Finish. No need to make very elaborate, complicated things. Learning shlokas and this and that. If you want to learn shlokas, it's very good. But doesn't mean if you don't know Sanskrit, you cannot preach. Everyone can preach. A little child can preach. So go out and preach. So just see, this purports. Every single sentence is a transcendental ecstasy. If you understand, every single sentence is a shastra. These nonsense people, they say, oh, this Prabhupada, this the Guru, is not established by Guru Sadhu Shastra. This is nonsense. The Guru Sadhu Shastra. Prabhupada is the Shastra. Every single line here. We can write volumes and volumes. We can write our own purports on every single sentence from Prabhupada's books. It's full of meaning. Just like I showed you just a few of them. They're full of meaning. Every single sentence. It is not that I can now erase this sentence. It's not very important. Just like, the editors, they've done. Hayagriva, rascal, he removed so many passages. Oh, this is not important. This, shaving or this moon landing, right? So people, they'll be turned away. That was his argument. Just consider. Prabhupada had to argue with him. He was arguing, no, Prabhupada, you don't know how to instruct. People will be turned away. This is not very, people think that we're primitive, that we're denying the reality, the moon landing. What kind of reality? Now they have found out. They have cheated. The NASA have cheated. Now the people have woken up. See? So again, a neophyte devotee makes a show of hearing from the professional man and dictates to the professional man to satisfy his senses. Of course, Prabhupada is not a professional man, but the mentality is like that, of the disciple. You want to dictate. You see? So, every single shloka is full of meaning. Now, someone will say, what do you mean? So, there's no difference. This is Mayavad, you're merging the two, Shastra and a Guru. Another important statement is here. Now, let me find it very fast. The holy messages of Godhead, as they are inculcated in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, are undoubtedly transcendental subjects. But even though they are so, such transcendental matters are not to be received from the professional man. Okay. before. Okay, here. A third class devotee, therefore, has to receive the instructions of devotional service from authoritative sources of Bhagavat. Number one, Bhagavat is the established personality of devotee, and the other Bhagavat is the message of Godhead. You see? The message of Godhead. That is the Shastra. See, now, people, they will challenge it. Oh, see, if the Ritvik system is valid, then I can take initiation from Rupa Goswami. Is that your reasoning? I can take initiation from Shukar Goswami. Is that your reasoning? Now, this is Mayavad. But Prabhupada says here, what is the Bhagavat? The message of Godhead. That is the Bhagavat. The book Bhagavat and the devotee Bhagavat. The book Bhagavat means the message of Godhead. So all these acharyas, they're passing down the message of Godhead. They're not the cause of the message. The message of Godhead is aparushya. See, the Shastra is aparushya. It doesn't, is not subjected to the mundane frailties of the conditioned soul. You see, that's why. That's why. Otherwise, anyone, you can, why not take initiation? These acharyas are living and sound. Why not? How you can refrain? How you can stop someone? He wants to accept Shukara Goswami as his spiritual master. What's wrong with that? It's wonderful. But he also has to be qualified. He has to understand. That's why the acharyas, they're coming. The parampara is going on to help the conditioned souls. Now if you want to find a disciple Shukara Goswami who actually can understand simply from the shlokas, even Prabhupada, who is the Karanacharya, so very few are actually following his instruction. What to speak of Shukara Goswami? So for that reason, if there is an acharya who can help you, why are you rejecting it? See, this is envy. Why are you rejecting? That acharya can help you, so you take advantage. That is good. But the ultimate siddhanta is that the Shastra is the message of Godhead. Shastra is not made by the Guru. Shastra is made by Krishna. And it's passed down, and the Guru explains the Shastra. That is the difference. You see? So, actually, the Prabhupada's purport of Shastra also. Because he's explaining the message of Godhead, but there is a distinction. So, ultimately there is no distinction because they all preach the same thing. Krishna is God. So, anyway, if we analyze every single sentence of Prabhupada's purports, then you get transcendent, enlightened, and you will understand the message of God automatically. That is also explained in the Bhagavatam later on. Either the book Bhagavatam or the devotee Bhagavatam, both or one of them is sufficient for the person to reach perfection. Alright. So, any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just one question and a little note. The note is that to say that Prabhupada purports or the letters or these things are not actually Shastra is also an offense because it's a blaspheming of the literature in pursuance of Vedic version.
Yes.
Blaspheme Vedas and that which explains the Vedas, which pursue the Vedic version, that is also an offense. And then the question, so the neophyte doesn't have the taste to hear.
Yes.
So how does he develop the taste?
That is what explained in the Bhagavatam. There's a whole shloka. Here. Shushruso Sharadana Sayavasudeva Kataruchi Satmat Sevayadi Prapayatittane Shamanat. All the twice born sages, by serving those devotees, were completely freed from all ranges of vice. A standard of great service is done. And as a result of great service, affinity in the messages of Vasudeva is made possible. When we serve pure devotee, when we try to assist him in his mission, he will give us the ability to understand. If you don't understand, how can you have any taste? The taste is the understanding. Oh, realization. Oh, okay. This is what Prabhupada says here. Oh, very nice. You become eager to hear more.
But isn't it like a vicious cycle that, okay, I have, first of all, we don't understand that much, right? To understand Prabhupada, it's not just like that. So,
Yes.
it doesn't really, personally, me, like what I understand. Not so easy to understand, so the realization may not be there in the beginning.
Yes.
That's why there is no taste.
Yes.
And that's why there is no understanding.
Yes.
Then if I do not understand what the Guru says, then how can I serve him properly? To get that taste, to get that realization and the understanding, so that I can progress.
Yes. So you have to decide, you have to take initiation. Initiation means that you take initiative. Yeah, I'm a nonsense, I don't know anything, but let me make an experiment. That you have to do. And if you were worried, well, first of all, prove it to me that this is actually true, and then I will study the truth. Then I will study the evidence. Before you give me the evidence, I have to know the evidence, whether it's evidence. That is the vicious cycle. That means that, you're not serious. Someone says like that, it means he's not serious. Only looking for excuses. The remedy is there. The Bhagavatam is there. The pure body is there. You take advantage. You don't understand? That's okay. Prabhupada says, I didn't understand anything what my Guru Maharaj said. But I kept on hearing, and Bhaktisiddhanta noted, yes, this person, he wants to hear. This boy, I like him very much. I will initiate him. That is initiation. The beginning. Beginning of the process. Just like Arjuna, he understood. I cannot know anything. I'm a fool. So that is the qualification to approach the spiritual master. I do not know anything. Okay, now let me hear. Let me render service. I don't have any taste for hearing. I'm sleeping in the Bhagavatam class. I have no interest in reading Prabhupada's books. Okay, let me do some service. And by doing that service, I'll become enthused. Because I feel pleasure. Oh, now we have opened a temple. Oh, very nice. So, people will ask you, so what is this? And it's a temple. Oh, what is a temple? Oh, I don't know. So you don't know? Okay, so then you find out. This is how it works. People will ask you, they will challenge you, well, what is this? What is this Krishna consciousness? And then you realize, oh, actually I do not know. So I should study. I should, read the books. But then you read. Then you have some little taste. Oh, you have some reason, some purpose. Otherwise, if you're not interested to serve, interested to preach, interested anything, if you just want a sense gratification, it's a very dry subject matter. Because it's exactly the opposite of sense gratification. We're satisfying Krishna. There's nothing for senses here in the Bhagavatam.
Okay.
So it's not like that there's no way out of it and I cannot surrender. Only when Krishna wills it, then I will surrender. No, not like that. You have your, Prabhupada says, you have your moving power. Everyone has his moving power. You have the moving power, so utilize it. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. Namaste